Taylor Sheridan's The Madison spinoff is exactly what John Dutton spent 5 seasons of Yellowstone trying to avoid. Taylor Sheridan's new series, The Madison, will be part of the Yellowstone franchise, but it will introduce the very thing John Dutton, Kevin Costner, spent 5 seasons of the original neo-Western show trying to avoid. John had a bleak and tragic ending when a team of operatives killed Dutton in his sleep under the leadership of Grant Horton, Matt Gerald, sent to murder the governor by Market Equity's Sarah Atwood, Don Olivieri. The corporate giant was after Governor Dutton for halting their plans to build an airport, among other things, in Paradise Valley. John's Yellowstone mission was to protect the valley and the way of life that generations of the Dutton family tree died protecting. While he ultimately wasn't able to keep fighting and case Dutton, Luke Grimes sold the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch to the Broken Rock tribe. John's son honored his mission. By selling the ranch to Thomas Rainwater, Gil Birmingham, Case restored the land to its indigenous stewards. Still, despite Case's triumph, things will look different in Montana after John Dutton's death. The Clyburn family, the Madison's characters, sound like the very thing John died trying to prevent. Shifting gears, the Madison will follow the Clyburn family, helmed by Michelle Pfeiffer as a wealthy matriarch named Stacy Clyburn. The Madison is the first Yellowstone series that will expand outside the Dutton family. While there are 2 existing Yellowstone spin-off shows predating the Madison, both series are prequels that follow the Dutton family back in time, in 1883 and 1923, respectively. The Madison story is teased as a picture of the clan as they relocate to Montana following the tragic death of their patriarch. Stacy and her family relocate to Montana from New York City, which raises a major red flag in the Yellowstone universe. John was adamant against city folks from California and New York City making Montana their playground. In Yellowstone Season 5's premiere, when John Dutton cancels funding for the Paradise Valley Airport project and the surrounding commercial and housing developments, the governor also avows to raise taxes on non-residents, with the message being, "We are not your playground." We know that Stacy Clyburn is a wealthy woman from the largest city in America. We also know that Stacy's daughters, Paige McIntosh, Elle Chapman, and Abigail Reese, Bo Garrett, also come from New York. Paige is described as a somewhat self-centered woman who indulges in a luxurious New York lifestyle provided by her parents and investment banker husband, Russell McIntosh, per Deadline. Suits Patrick J. Adams will play Paige's husband. Stacy's other daughter, Abigail, is a resilient and sardonic New Yorker, and recently divorced mother of 2. While we don't know much about Stacy's family yet, they sound like people that John and Beth, Kelly Rayleigh, wanted to keep as far from Montana as possible. That is, unless they embrace the lifestyle. In his speech that warned tourists, saying Montana wasn't their playground, John Dutton also said, "Perhaps if you choose to make Montana your home, you will start treating it as such." John had room in his heart and in his policies for those who moved to Montana and embraced the lifestyle. Within Stacy's family, some will probably rise to the challenge, while others won't. The Madison's Clyburn family sounds somewhat entitled, and it's hard to say what the climate is for tourists and transplants in Montana after Governor John Dutton's death. It could be that the state's new leader is welcoming people like the Clyburns, encouraging tourists to take advantage of Montana's resources like Jamie Dutton, Wes Bentley, wanted. As outsiders who have preferred the pavement of New York for presumably most of their lives, the Madison's family already sounds like the opposite of the Dutton family, who have lived for over a century in Paradise Valley. Still, the Madison is described as a heartfelt study of grief and human connection following a New York City family in the Madison River Valley of central Montana. Just like any of Taylor Sheridan's shows, there will be room for character growth and perseverance, which the Clyburn family certainly has. The Madison could be about a family of outsiders embracing the lifestyle to varying degrees, and their lack of familiarity is what will set them apart. However, heartfelt studies of grief and human connection are at the core of Yellowstone, so the Madison should fit the Yellowstone franchise's mold regardless. In the vast and untamed universe of Taylor Sheridan's storytelling, where land is legacy and loyalty is law, the Madison spinoff lands like a Molotov cocktail hurled at the legacy of John Dutton. A spiritual successor to Yellowstone, the series carves out its own niche in Big Sky Country, yet the irony couldn't be more brutal. The Madison is precisely what John Dutton spent 5 harrowing seasons trying to prevent. Where Yellowstone painted a portrait of resistance against encroaching development, federal overreach, and generational dilution, the Madison represents surrender. It's a sleek, modern tale of tech billionaires, boutique ranches, and influencer cowboys, all masquerading as heirs to the West. The series takes its name from Madison County, Montana, once a quiet neighbor to Paradise Valley, but now a playground for the ultra-wealthy, eager to cosplay rugged individualism with designer boots and curated cattle. In Yellowstone, John Dutton made it his life's work to protect his family's land from being sold, split, or sullied. He declared war on real estate moguls, politicians, and his own children to keep the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch whole. He orchestrated murders, legal manipulations, and backroom deals, all to maintain control over something that to him was sacred. He believed the land held memory, that the soil told stories passed down from ancestors to offspring, a living entity to be preserved, not monetized. Enter the Madison, a series that thumbs its nose at those principles. The protagonist, Eden Cross, is a former Silicon Valley strategist turned eco-rancher who moves to Montana with promises of sustainable stewardship. But make no mistake, Eden is no Dutton. She's part of a new class of rancher, flush with cash, buzzwords, and media consultants. She talks about blockchain-backed land deeds and climate credits, all while sipping oat milk glass in a repurposed barn studio that costs more than Rip Wheeler's entire Wrangler wardrobe. What would John Dutton say? He'd say the Madison is the nightmare made real. In every scene of digital ranching and commodified heritage, we see the very future John fought to hold back. Madison County in this series isn't a place of sweat and sacrifice, it's a showroom. And Eden isn't fighting to protect the land, she's rebranding it. What Dutton called legacy, she calls livable equity. The land no longer lives in the soul of a family, it lives on Instagram, tagged hashtag rooted in ranching, but curated by social media managers in Los Angeles. And yet, the Madison isn't just a rebuke of John Dutton's worldview, it's a requiem for it. Taylor Sheridan, never one to shy away from complexity, seems fully aware of the hypocrisy. This isn't a betrayal of Yellowstone, it's a commentary on its epilogue. If Yellowstone was about resisting change, the Madison is about what happens when change wins. It poses a haunting question. What if John Dutton was always destined to lose? The writing is laced with nods to Yellowstone's past. In the pilot episode, Eden visits a land auction where a weathered old rancher warns her, "You can't buy Montana. You can only borrow it until she decides to take it back." The old man's eyes glint with familiarity, and fans are left wondering, was that a ghost of Dutton himself? Or maybe a relative, long removed but still echoing the ethos of Paradise Valley? Ripples of the Dutton legacy also show up in local resistance. A shadowy group calling themselves the Stewards vandalize Eden's billboards and sabotage her tech-driven livestock monitoring. They brand cattle the old-fashioned way. They spread rumors of Dutton's curse, that no one who profits from the land without honoring it will prosper. There's even a young cowboy, Levi, who claims to have once worked under Rip Wheeler. He's quiet, observant, and doesn't take to Eden's ranch apps or luxury bunkhouse renovations. In him, Sheridan plants a seed of rebellion, a reminder that not all of Dutton's fire has been extinguished. Levi becomes the conscience of the show, watching Eden's vision unfold with a mix of admiration and disgust. "You're not building a ranch," he tells her in episode 5. "You're building a brand." And that's the truth. The Madison is branding the New West. This is not a saga of survival, but of reinvention. Whereas Joan Dutton stood immovable in the face of modernity, Eden Cross surfs its wave. She's got a sustainability podcast, hosts wellness retreats, and has a grazing plan approved by a Stanford-led think tank. The conflict in the Madison isn't between cowboys and capitalists. It's between two types of capitalists: those who exploit the land and those who claim to heal it, while still getting rich.